Please help me as I bring to the podium the student Imam of the Nation of Islam, Imam Sultan Rahman Muhammad.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وأشهد أن محمد رسول الله. These words, dear brothers, dear sisters, people of God, these words are our original words of Arabic, and they mean the following: that we seek refuge with Allah from Satan, the rejected enemy. And we further ask Allah in His holy names, the beneficent, the merciful, to guide us into the path of Allah. We bear witness that there is no God but Allah and that Muhammad is His messenger. And we ask you, dear brothers and sisters, today to open your minds, open your hearts, for we are in the hour of judgment. We are in the hour of judgment. We are looking before our eyes, brothers and sisters, and watching that which has been promised play itself out. If we, brothers and sisters, are not thankful for the guidance that we have received from the Honorable Elijah Muhammad and the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, we will be remiss and regret what we have missed. Brothers and sisters, as we look at the calendar today, we are still in the month of Hajj, of the lunar calendar of the Muslims. This now marks the time when the Hujjaj, or the Hajjis, are returning from this great pilgrimage. This pilgrimage I was blessed in my early teens to make with my family. I made this Hajj. We were blessed to be able to see the rites of the Muslims, to perform the rites of the Muslims, to walk and retrace the steps of Lady Hagar and her husband Abraham and her child Ishmael. So this represents the journey of a family, the journey of life, a journey to truth. Brothers and sisters, it was a blessing to experience the beauty of a sign of Allah. But we must reflect that this is a sign. For in my performance of this Hajj, it was tragic yet beautiful. Why do I say this? At the time of my Hajj, 1987, we were preparing to go to one of the holy sites, and we heard ringing out in a circle of learning AK-47s and guns in the holy site of the Muslims. Now, if we are to represent the reality of God, how can we as Muslims be fighting among each other? We have one among us that has been calling for the unity of the Sunni and the Shia for year and year going on. Not only that, but unity between the Christian and the Jew, the Muslim and those who are just worshipers of God, those who want to be righteous believers. He has been calling for us to unite and show the reality that God is present among us. How do we know He is present, brothers and sisters? We know that He is present because His product is before us. His product is that of one who is a peacemaker. He makes peace among the tribes here on our streets in America. He calls for peace around the world wherever He goes. He stands for the reality of God and does not compromise on that point. Brothers and sisters, let us in this time, in this hour, wake ourselves up from a sleep. Let us return to the knowledge of self and the knowledge of God. In this verse of the Holy Quran, as our brother mentioned before I came up, the words of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, this is now the judgment between man and nation and nation. Allah has said in the Quran in Surah 89, the daybreak, the Fajr. He has said, by the daybreak, and the even and the odd, and the night when it departs, truly in this is an oath for men of understanding. Have you not considered how thy Lord dealt with the people of Ad and the people of Iram, having lofty buildings, the like of which were not created in the land, and with the people of Thamud, who hewed out rocks in the valley, and with Pharaoh, the Lord of hosts, who exceeded limits in the cities and made great mischief therein. So thy Lord poured on them a portion of chastisement. Surely thy Lord is ever watchful. Allah, God, is watching. And this is an hour where we can learn from the past. But those who are enemies of God, who want to rebel against God, follow the path of the old by raising towers. Now in the holy city of Mecca, there is a clock tower that is risen nearly 2,000 feet. In the last days, the Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings of Allah be upon him, has said the hour will not be established till the people of the desert, the camel shepherds, compete with one another in constructing high buildings. You can see now, if this image is playing for us, this tall clock towering over the sanctuary of God, representing what? A desert people who just 80 years ago, 60 years ago, were shepherds and camel herders, and they are now competing with the enemy to build tall buildings. So next year, they plan to build another tower and another. And what's happening to the people there? Brothers and sisters, let us look at the enemy at work. I learned today that our brother, Student National Assistant of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, Minister Ishmael, will deliver a message on the war of two fronts. If we do not notice, brothers and sisters, this is being set up as the final war of Armageddon. This is the hour. Let us open our eyes and see the signs. More than $38 billion granted to the welfare state of Israel. Also, over $100 billion granted to Saudi Arabia. What are the Muslims doing in the Middle East? What is the enemy doing in the Middle East? What are we doing right here in our communities, brothers and sisters? By accepting weapons and killing one another. This is a war on two fronts. This is a war, brothers and sisters, that will not end until Allah Most High has trialed the believer, has given the believer a trial, and has chastised the enemies of God. We close on this point. The Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan has stated in our study guides, who is God? After Ramadan, we have the Eid feast, and after Hajj, we have another Eid feast. We are pilgrims journeying through the darkness of the night to come back to the light and the face of God. It is time for us to feast. Feast on what? Feast on manna from heaven. Knowledge that has never been revealed in 66 trillion years. May Allah bless us. May Allah grant us the willingness to take such a challenge, to emit a knowledge that has not been known for more than 66 trillion years. This garment of truth, the white garment of the Haji, is representative of our ability to put down our national garb, put down our differences, and come together as one community, as one nation that is established as a light from the west to the east. I thank you for listening. We greet you with the greeting words of peace as we came. Assalamu alaikum.